If Amazon was a country, its market cap would be bigger than the GDP of Russia, Brazil, and South Korea. How'd Amazon get so rich? Worth $2.4 trillion, Amazon is the second richest company in the world. Bezos and his cheerleaders want you to believe that he got rich by just waking up earlier and working harder than everyone else, paired with his visionary foresight for selling you toilet paper with an easy button. Amazon says they made it by selling everything under the sun and selling it cheaper than their competition. That's part of the story, but they aren't saying how they pulled that off. Let's talk about how Amazon basically cheated their way to trillions. First, Econ 101. If a business isn't profitable, then it fails. Simple. Well, that's unless you've been ordained by finance capital. After years of working on Wall Street, Bezos started Amazon by asking all his rich finance buddies to back him. Amazon survived that first decade on life support from investors long enough to undercut their competition, despite bleeding $2.8 billion in losses. Working class people have to declare bankruptcy, trying to get a roof over our heads or get basic health care. Meanwhile, the rich thrive on debt to build corporate empires. Amazon finally turned a profit for the first time in 2003 and continued to take out the remaining competition. Amazon isn't special for doing this, but they were more cutthroat. In fact, this is how most monopolies are built. Today, the company dominates selling most of what Americans need, making up over half of all e-commerce. Once the competition is gone, those low prices get jacked up to whatever they can get away with. That's exactly what Amazon did during the first year of the pandemic, with major price hikes even up to 1,000%. For example, face masks went from $4 to $39.99. Gloves went from $8.91 to $29.95, and toilet paper went from $6.89 to $36.39. Yet they say they don't price gouge. Meanwhile, they dodge their taxes like an optional thank my driver tip. In 2022, Amazon only paid an effective 6% in federal taxes, compared to the 21% federal corporate tax rate. Additionally, Bezos paid an effective 1.1% tax rate on his hundreds of billions between 2006 and 2018. On top of that, city officials fell over backwards offering massive tax breaks and subsidies to have the new Amazon headquarters built in their backyard. Newark offered $7 billion in tax incentives, and Columbus offered a 15-year property tax abatement. In the end, New York City won this race to the bottom, offering $1.5 billion in subsidies. But the people who pay the price aren't the elected officials selling out the city. It's the people who need that money to go to their education and healthcare. Instead of paying their fair share in taxes, Amazon acted like a gangster, extorting cities to pay up if they wanted a piece of the action. In the end, protests in New York successfully blocked the construction of the new headquarters. The public battle brought attention to this fight. But this often happens more quietly wherever Amazon sets up a new facility. They extort these tax breaks and subsidies by promising good jobs. But what about those jobs? Well, Amazon is the second largest employer in the country, with over 1.5 million workers, larger than the size of the US military. These workers are the real reason Amazon has gotten so rich. Despite moving every last package at ungodly speeds, mind you, the workers are getting an average of just $20.50 an hour. Compare this to the unionized UPS workers, who fought for and won $44 per hour for drivers and $38 for full-time warehouse workers, not to mention benefits. A recent study showed that 53% of Amazon workers struggle to pay for food, 48% struggle with housing insecurity. And Amazon works them to the bone for these poverty wages. More than 2 in 5 workers have reported injuries on the job, seriously injured at more than twice the rate of other warehouse jobs. Incredibly, they grind people down so much that nearly 7 in 10 workers have to take unpaid time off due to pain or exhaustion. Inevitably, most people eventually have no choice but to quit. A leaked internal memo exposed that Amazon has actually been running out of people who are willing to work for them, giving workers more leverage. Bezos called Amazon the Earth's best employer, but that's kind of hard to believe when they're burning through workers faster than same-day delivery burns gas. All of that means Amazon is getting rich directly off of giving these workers as little as they can get away with and squeezing every drop of profit they can out of them. That is exactly why Amazon is spending millions and trying so hard to bust the union. They know that if Amazon workers unionize, they'll take back those profits that are made on their backs. To get to the top, Amazon was ready to cheat everyone. If you ask Bezos, he'd say they never cheated, claiming they technically played by all the rules. But the rules are written for the biggest cheaters like Amazon to win. The people, though, aren't going to let Amazon get away with it anymore. This company has been built on the backs of workers and made the entire country pay the price. Across the world, more working people are ready to hold Amazon to account. The leading role will come from the courageous fight back by the workers that truly built Amazon. The massive strike across Amazon during this peak season is just the beginning of a new movement for working class power. And if even Amazon can be taken down, so can all the cheating bosses and their whole rotten system.